On June 11th, 2025, we gather in memory of voices that sparked cultural movements, rewrote narratives, and left melodies that linger far beyond the final note. From the turf of football fields to the depths of electronic music halls. From self-help books that save lives to fearless voices that inspire generations. These individuals gave more than talent. They gave transformation. They gave legacy. Today, we pause, not simply to mourn their passing, but to honor the vibrancy of their lives and the indelible marks they left on our world. Stu Barber was the kind of player every coach dreams of, tough, consistent, and quietly great. Drafted by the Buffalo Bills in the 1960s, he became a fixture in their offensive line during one of the most memorable periods in AFL history. He helped secure championships and build a legacy of grit that still defines Buffalo football. Beyond the field, Stu was a mentor, a strategist, and eventually a leader in the Bills' front office, proving his intellect matched his physical prowess. He was the kind of man whose handshake meant something, whose loyalty never wavered. His legacy is not only in team record books, but in the stories told by those who played beside him and those who looked up to him. Ananda Lewis was a bright light in every space she entered. Equal parts elegance, intellect, and unapologetic courage. She broke through in the late 1990s as a host on MTV, connecting with young audiences through empathy and fearless honesty. But she was never just a personality. She was a presence. She used her voice to speak about education, self-worth, and race at a time when few dared to. Later, her journey with breast cancer, shared so openly and gracefully, became a source of strength for countless others. Ananda was not just heard, she was felt. Through her laughter, her advocacy, her vulnerability, she taught a generation to speak up, love themselves, and fight on. John Robbins stood at the crossroads of privilege and purpose, and chose the harder, nobler path. As heir to the Baskin-Robbins empire, he turned his back on comfort to follow a calling, to challenge the norms of nutrition, to speak for the voiceless, to fight for a healthier planet. His groundbreaking book Diet for a New America awakened millions to the hidden truths of food and industry. But more than a writer, Robbins was a reformer. He built bridges between science and spirit, between personal wellness and planetary healing. Even in the face of illness, his voice was unwavering, a guiding light for those searching for truth in a world of noise. His words didn't just change minds, they changed lives. Brian Wilson was more than a genius. He was a revolution in harmony. As a visionary behind the Beach Boys, his music didn't just define a sound, it defined an era. From sun-kissed California ballads to the haunting beauty of Pet sounds, his compositions wove together joy, melancholy, and the infinite yearning of a human soul. But behind the legend was a man in pain, a man who fought private battles with mental illness, even as he crafted songs of light. Brian gave the world everything he had, even when it nearly broke him. His music, filled with vulnerability, hope, and wonder, became an eternal soundtrack to life itself. Today, the world hummed a little quieter, but his melodies will echo forever. Douglas McCarthy wasn't just a voice, he was a force. As a fiery frontman of Nitzer Ebb, he channeled rage, rebellion, and rhythm into something primal and profound. He didn't sing to please, he sang to awaken. With Nitzer Ebb's pulsing beats and industrial edge, Douglas became a legend in the underground, inspiring generations of musicians and misfits. His performances were raw, unfiltered, and electrifying. Every shout a challenge, every lyric a confrontation. But those who knew him offstage saw a man of surprising kindness and deep thoughtfulness. He understood pain and turned it into power. Even as scenes evolved and trends faded, Douglas McCarthy remained timeless, his voice still ringing in dark clubs and wild hearts. Today, we say goodbye to artists and athletes, thinkers and rebels, to those who shaped soundtracks, stories, and struggles. Their voices weren't always loud, but they were always true. They lived not just to be remembered, but to move others. They danced in truth, sang in defiance, and stood tall even in storms. In honoring them, we're reminded that legacy isn't measured in years, it's measured in impact. And these lives, they echo endlessly. We carry forward their music, their words, their courage, because the world they helped shape is still here. And so are we. listening, learning, living,